All right, it's jpeg2RAW, show number 196 on June 20th. Tim, I just thought of something just now. I honestly just thought of something. This may be our 6-year anniversary. Wasn't it right around this time? June. I know my son's birthday is June 22nd, I think. And I know that our start date was really, really close to that.
I think you probably started, and then because I didn't come until the third show, and that was probably, I got to think when I went to Disney in, what was it, 2011, I guess?
Yeah, so I'm going to say this is our 6-year anniversary. If not, it's really, really close.
Really close, right?
Because I just figured it out. I did not, and even if I didn't, I would not have planned anything special. It's just whatever it is. But it's hard to believe it's been 6 years. You were with me starting with show number 4 or so, and basically been here ever since.
Right. You're right. I went to Disney July 4th weekend that year. So it would have been not long after that. It was probably like, for me, it would have been like the second or third week of July I was on.
Yep. That sounds about right. All right. So
196 episodes.
196 episodes. Yes. So we have skipped some weeks here and there, which is fine. We don't guarantee this will be every week, but for a lot of weeks, 196 weeks, that's pretty good. So
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, so tonight, just have a few things I want to go over. Toward the end, I'm going to go over a few things I've done recently personally that really doesn't have a whole lot to do with photography. I'll find some way to rope it into there. But I'll do it at the end for some, I know people who listen to photography podcasts don't necessarily want to listen to a lot of personal stuff about the host. So I'll put that at the end in that way. If you don't want to listen to it, you can just, end listening or stop listening for that show, whatever. But I did want to mention, I hadn't done this before. If I can find where I put this. Oh, the text is super tiny. That I wanted to mention a few people call out a few people who have left us a review on iTunes. We love receiving reviews on iTunes. We have the audio version and 2 video versions. And if you want to go out there and leave us a review, that's great. So let's see. The first one, and Tim doesn't see any of these, so he's not going to be able to help me with pronunciations. Midherandra. So he says, this person, I don't know, male or female. These guys do a great job of keeping the show fun and informal. Hey, I like that. They have great guests covering many areas of photography. Yeah, we try to cover a lot of different areas of photography, right, Tim?
Mm-hmm. I think we do a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, I'm always. We went through a spell where we did a lot of wedding ones, and now we've kind of gone off of that. Okay, next, Gene Horn. Mike has this is about me. Mike has created a wonderful podcast with great repertoire and very good guests. Tim is a great co-host. There you go, Tim. We miss Kathleen. You need another gorgeous co-host to keep it up.
Well, we don't fit that bill.
No, neither one of us are all that gorgeous. But thanks, Gene. Block 109. I only got 2 more after this, so this won't take too long. jpeg2RAW is a fun and informative podcast. I think all levels of photographers will enjoy this podcast. I look forward to each and new episode, and I'm excited to see what the future brings for the show. Thank you, Block. Max 25. Very down to earth, informative podcast for beginner to pro. Come join the Facebook group and show us some of your great photos. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, come and join the Facebook group. We'll have a link to that and talk about that a little bit later. And then Ashley Ober. These podcasts are great and full of good information, both for the hobbyist photographer and those starting out on their own business. They cover technique, tips, and stories and have really interesting guests on. The casual chatter makes you really feel a part of the show. Highly recommended. Okay, thank you guys for leaving those comments, and we're welcome those comments. You just go out to, I think you got to have iTunes to leave them on iTunes, but you go out there and leave a few comments for us. We'd love to hear from you on that. Move over to Facebook. Brad Kenyor out in Brad, you were over in our page. Now you're over on YouTube. We're not streaming to Facebook tonight, but he's over on YouTube. That's fine. That's where most of the chat's happening tonight anyway. All right. One of the things So a couple of things we're going to go over tonight. One is the photos that were entered into one of our 2 contests. We'll go over all of them with AD at a different point, but I wanted to go over a few. We need to pick a winner in that one, and we're going to do that tonight. And then I have a couple other things to talk about. So first up is, and let's see if I'm going to be able to do this, Tim. Have you heard of Pixel Peeper?
I heard of it, but I couldn't explain what it was.
What on earth is happening here? This is crazy zoomed in. Here we go. I'm going to have to reset something. So you haven't heard what it is. I will bring it in just a second, but something got all out of whack. All right, so we'll bring this up. No, that won't work. We'll do that. All right, so that's our page. That's not what I wanted to show you. You go over to this. This is Pixel Peeper, which is pixelpeeper.io. And now what we're going to have to do is find an image. Let's see if I can find an image. I did not prepare well enough for this. On my network. Like photos. See, this one will work. Okay, I just found any old image. It's a JPEG, and what it does is it gives you all the Lightroom settings. So if you have a JPEG image, I think it still has to have the X of data attached, and you slide it in there. It tells you, it gives you all the sliders as if they were in Lightroom. So you can see I white balance is as shot, the tint. I added vibrance and saturation right there. And then I guess I did nothing else. Oh, down here in sharpening, and here in sharpening, you got an amount of sharpening, the detail, the masking, noise reduction. Some of that might be just what Lightroom applies all by itself. So let's do another one and see if it has anything different. I didn't edit this one. These are not ones that are meant to be very good, but I'm not sure how much use I would have out of this. Gina posted this out into our Facebook group, this Pixel Peeper, and you can drag photos into this and see all the Lightroom changes that somebody made.
Wouldn't this be just? I mean, for other people. I mean, for my own pictures, wouldn't it be easier just for me to go into Lightroom?
Yeah, I don't think you would use this for your own pictures.
Okay.
I can't imagine why I would use it for my own pictures.
That's my thought.
Because I would just open Lightroom. But I mean, it gives you all the other things like the focal length. But this is a DX lens, so you have to multiply that by 1.5, and all your standard X of information. All right, nothing great there. But I just wanted to show that. Any questions on that, Tim?
Nothing on that.
Okay. Then, so let's go into the next topic. That was a dud. Let's go into the next topic, and that is I was reading recently, and this is something that I think you and I are both amateurs, or we don't have a desire to become pro.
Sadly, this show has showed me I'm not even an advanced amateur.
Well, we don't have any desire to become pro, but this could affect both the pro, the weekend warrior, the person who's wanting to become pro and doing this on weekends. And to some extent, even us amateurs. But that is, do you go into debt to buy gear?
Yeah, no, that ain't me.
and is there ever a situation where going into debt does make sense?
It probably, I don't know. For me, not me. But yeah, I guess some people, I mean, you got to start from somewhere. And for some people it's going to work, and other people you might crash and burn.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a personal choice, I think.
Well, a lot of businesses, big and small,
have debt.
Use debt as part of their financing.
Right.
Many businesses have lines of credit, have longer term debt, use that debt, and it's a vital part of the survival of their business.
Right.
So it does have its place. It has a very good use case, but it also is also the death knell of many businesses and individuals. So I think that often you'll hear people who will say flat out, no, you should never go into debt to buy gear. But I was recently listening to a person who was saying, yeah, there's many cases where you go into debt. If you get the thing now versus saving up for it and having it later. Well, I wasn't all in agreement with all his cases because many times it is better to save up and buy it later.
Right.
But I know I can't tell you the products the person was asking about because you might guess who the person was. I can tell you, Tim, but I don't want the world to know. First off, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not giving you financial advice. I've never reviewed the books of any of the people we're going to talk about. So I'm just guessing at some of this stuff. So take that for what it is. But this person asked me, hey, Mike, do you think it's a good idea if I took out a loan to buy X product that would be a critical part of my business? I want to grow my business into a different area, and I really need to have this thing to grow into that business, into that avenue. So I thought there's many things to think about. Again, I'm not a financial planner. You may want to consider seeing one. But before you just answer no, it's one thing to talk about is where you're going to get the money. Mm-hmm. Is it going to be on your credit card at 15, 20, or 30% interest? Then that answer is almost always no. I'm not a real big fan of home equity loans because now you've tied that camera or drone or whatever it is to your house. Mm-hmm. But if you can get a different kind of loan, that may be it. Then the second thing is, is this going to actually make you money? Do you have to have it to make this money? Could you make the money without it? Will you lose business and lose money if you wait the year or however long to save up for it and do it versus doing it now and getting the revenue from it now? And be honest with yourself on whether that'll work.
Right.
And then number 3, this is the thing that kills many small businesses is cash flow. If you do this one, okay, I got to have this, and then later you decide also got to have this, and now you start building up, this debt and this cash flow that you can't maintain. You got to take that into account. So you can't look at it in isolation. You got to look at it in your total cash flow. Mm-hmm. So if you can get a good rate, you can cash flow the payments, and this thing will earn you business you can't get otherwise, and will be profitable business, not losing money business. Then borrowing to get it may not be a bad idea.
And I think you got to be honest with yourself. I don't want to say lie to yourself to make the facts come out straight. My cousin was just going through whether he wanted to switch jobs, and he had a pretty good job. And I said, and I knew he wasn't always happy with his current job, but there are a lot of pluses with the current job he has. As I told him, I said, you need to put a list. What are all the positives about the job you have? What are the things you don't like about the job, the negatives? And then do the same thing on the other side with what you perceive as the positives. And then there's some negatives that he already knew about the other job. And after he went through the exercise, he wound up taking the job. But you need to do that, and you got to be honest with yourself, not just guess what is good for yourself.
Right.
Well, I just enlarged myself on the screen.
That's the new look I'm trying out. Jan says you can't take pictures if you're too weak to hold the camera because you can't pay the food bill. Right. I mean, you got some basic needs.
That's right.
If you're married, with a family, you got all those needs.
Absolutely.
Food definitely being one of them. Housing being another one. All those things. And if this is just one of many things you're gonna have to buy, you're gonna drown yourself in debt. So you got to be very careful. The answer generally is going to be no, but if you think it through, and you can make it work and be honest with yourself, then that may be.
And that's how a lot of entrepreneurs do well. I mean, yeah, I always tell my son, you're not going to get rich working for another company.
That's true.
So, I mean, and there's a lot of successful companies. As a matter of fact, we were talking at work the other day about Amazon because they just went over $1,000 a share. And we're talking, oh, we should have bought that stock. I was like, yeah, but when Amazon was out, you had eToys, you had this, you had that. And those companies not around anymore. So, yeah, if I knew back then that Amazon was going to be $1,000 a share, it would have been a smart choice. But you never knew which one was going to make it.
You're right. The saying goes, you don't get rich working for somebody else or something like that.
Right.
But and that's a great point to point out that of all that one winner, Amazon, who's a huge winner, there's hundreds of losers.
Yeah, thousands
who all died most likely with loads of debt. So
yes,
that was a video. I think it was over on F-Stoppers or something. There's an article written there. You can go watch it and see what that person's take was. I think they were a little bit too eager for the debt. One of the examples they gave is a friend wanted a car. He took out the loan to get the car, and he got to enjoy the car all this time versus saving up for it. Most of us are going to get a loan for a car anyway. That's a pretty big purchase. So I'm not sure that was a great example versus a $1,000 drone or lens or $2,000 lens. But if you're going to be shooting, let's say a high school football, and all you got is a kit lens, you're going to have to get something else, but are you going to make money off of that lens?
Right. But are you going to buy a $5,000 lens for that? Probably not.
Yeah. That's going a little extreme. All right. So I'd love to hear what everybody else's thoughts are. You can email them to us or go on our Facebook group and let us know there. We're at, I think the email is podcast@jpeg2RAW.com. And Facebook is easy. Just go to Facebook and search for jpeg2RAW. So out there, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on, should you go into debt to buy gear? Or maybe the better question is, when is the right time to go into debt to buy gear?
Right. When is the right time? You can always find food. You definitely cannot take photos without a camera.
Yeah, I'm watching a show called Alone, although this year you're not alone. Great show about being dropped in the middle of nowhere and them having to find food. I'm not sure most of us want to live that way, where we go out in the backyard and dig for grubs and that kind of stuff.
No, not me. I don't think my wife would be happy with that either.
A little bit higher quality food. All right, so that was that topic. Next is let's look at some of the photos. I'm not going to steal the thunder from you, AD. I know you're out there. We're just going to look at the beginner photos and do our what we call it, a grade B or C review. More of a discussion. Let's not call it a review, just a discussion. Because AD and I will go back soon and do the regular review and a part of the photo review show. But we're going to look at just the beginner photos, if I can do that. You'll learn to like to be a photographer. So how do I pause that? Pick that up. Do I even know which ones are the beginners? Give me a second to set this up.
Hope you know which one the beginners.
Well, I think I have them all in one.
Of course you do.
I know. Why did I do that to myself? This one. Here we go. All right, let me cut over.
Yes, right. I don't remember that one.
I know it's over and up again. Hold on.
And that's back to the regular ones.
Yeah. So I got to go back. This is not working the way I wanted it to. There we go. Quit moving. Yeah, let's see if I can get the name up here. There we go.
Barry Cruver.
Barry Cruver. He's out there in chat. So this is images entered into our beginners group, and this is the theme was open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And AD says he's here to laugh at us as we try to review this.
Thanks.
Maybe I should let you go first.
No, it's okay. You go first.
Let me read what he says.
Nice try.
Dang it. Barry says, a field of yellow rapeseed flowers used in the production of rapeseed and canola oil. I don't know what rapeseed is. I took some prior shots of this, but decided to return closer to dusk and get a better color in the sky. I wasn't able to stay till sunset. This was a series of 7 shots in on a tripod and combined in Lightroom to HDR. I'm trying to make a conscious decision to take these types of photos in better light. Yeah, I like the time of day you captured it at. I love the contrast of the yellow here with the darker and reddish sky and bluish sky out there.
Well, and I think that house in the background helps add something to the picture because you're trying to look up over it. But probably what I always like about this, or what most people do not do, is they want to put in that horizon dead center in the picture. And here he's got it at that rule, or just slightly above the rule of thirds line, which makes this a very pleasing picture. And by taking this picture in the evening, in my opinion, those clouds are nicely lit by the sun in the background. Kind of like the sun is skipping over the top of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to envision what AD would say. I do like the house in the background. It is somewhat dead center.
Yeah, I would have probably moved it a little bit to the left.
Yeah, and I wonder if you could have moved, and we don't know what's to the left and right, so we're having to deal with, we have to make stuff up as we talk about this. So it could be that he's framed it the best he could, given what's on to the left and right. But I wonder if you tighten the right side a little bit, where that tree goes up a little bit closer to the right side, and that would move, and that may move the house even more center. Maybe you got to go the other way. I don't know. I like this image.
Tim has been doing his homework. I guess I said something right. Thank you,
You must have said something right. I did do my border patrol. Didn't find anything there I could complain about, or critique on, I should say. The borders look good to me. Tell you what, we're gonna do this easier, so I don't have to do it this way. We're gonna do it this way.
And I'll say the picture looks much better in the YouTube versus what I see on my screen that comes from you.
Okay. That was Barry. And next up is this one from Thomas. Thomas Sandlin. Let me get his name up there. And he says, picture of my new house in Kentucky. So congrats on the new house there, Thomas. So for me, there's not much of the subject here. I know this is new house. He's partial to the new house.
See a lot more of the tree than the house.
The tree is covering up a lot of the house. The sky, at least where I'm looking, is you lost a lot of detail in there. It may still be there where you can recover it, but you've lost a lot of detail in there. What might have been better, I know you wanted one. You probably wanted one straight from the street, and I like that red chair that's sitting at what I guess is the front door. Might have been able to come more to our left, shoot at an angle, and have that tree less of an object in the image.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. And like you said, you don't know what is to the left there. I would think there's not a tree there because you see the bright sun to the left, so there's probably nothing there. I would have taken a dozen or more steps to the left and come in at more of a 35, 40 degree angle to the house.
Yeah, that red chair. Go ahead.
No.
No, I like the red chair, but it's lost, and really what we're seeing here is that tree.
And Gary's saying, does the house have a door? And I'm going to guess by that red chair, that's got to be the front porch.
I think it is.
You see, it looks like there's 2 pillars there.
Yeah. So I know Thomas is really early in the learning stage, and the good thing to do is get out there and take photos. The more you take, the better you're going to get, and the more you're going to understand, composition and exposure and all that kind of stuff. So, thanks for entering, Thomas. And Thomas has entered before. Keep entering, Thomas. You are getting better. You are improving. So,
yes.
One thing what was his name? Whoa, what's going on? think we just lost the stream. Did we just lose the stream? No.
No, it's going on YouTube. I mean, looks like it's going on YouTube.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so up next is this image by, I think this is his first time entering. Ted Yeti.
Now, what is this a picture of?
This is sunset outside my window. 3 photos using a Sigma 10-20 on a Pentax KS2 bracketed 20 +2 blended in luminosity with using luminosity mask.
I like this picture. This is really, and I actually like the framing of the window there. I wasn't sure what it was at first, but I mean, the color really gives the picture impact. And maybe a little detail on the lower left is lost in those trees there, but I'm
fine with that. The white truck, it looks like a semi truck down there. I might have cloned that out.
Yeah, clone that out.
I'm not sure if we're getting some kind of artifacts around the top of the window seal or not, but I like this, the color of the sunset. We definitely have the feel that we're looking out a window, and once you see that it's a window, and I did see it was a window. Of course, I read his thing too, so it made it easier. But you get the feel. I feel like I'm there with him, looking out his window.
Yeah. No, I like it. I mean, it's stark contrast from the frame on the right third to the other 2/3 was a huge amount of detail. Well, mainly from the sky and the orange.
Well, Ted, thanks for entering. We're glad you're part of the group, and keep entering every month. All right, this next one is and this is one I can't wait to hear from AD, because AD is a real stickler on symmetrical stuff. So he's gonna either love this or hate this. This is by Jayde Cook. Let me get Jayde's name up there. Come on. Where's Jayde? I'm having issues tonight. I think my hard drive just ran out of space.
Really?
Where I record the show too, I think. But I double record, so that's all right. All right, this image by Jayde Cook.
Now, this to me looks like the plastic milk crates that he took a picture through. Am I close?
You close, yes. So he says, was out and about delivering to supermarkets. Never really paid much attention to the bread crates.
Bread basket, bread. Yeah. Oh, I was going to say that then.
Until this day. Looked down at the stack and was mesmerized by the pattern created by multiple crates stacked together. Shot on my Sony.
Yay.
Actually on his phone. Kind of cheating. It's not cheating. Whatever you're using to take your images, that's fine. So, but can't carry my phone at work. Edit in Lightroom and then Photoshop. Yeah, no. Cell phone is not cheating. As long as you can get
a lot of them are very good cameras.
Decent quality out of it. That's fine. I really like this one.
I was gonna say I like this, and I like where he's got the initial picture looking down at that straight down. And then, I mean, the symmetry of this is, I think it's 80 is probably going to kill the two of us, but I think it's really good. I'm trying to see, does it line up across the top, the sides, the bottom?
It seems to line up down the bottom, yeah, and the sides.
I don't know if he did a lot of cropping later on to get it to come out good, but this is really nice.
Yeah.
And I agree with Barry. Normally, you're right. I would have walked right by this, and I never taken this picture in my mind.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, we walk by stuff all the day. We had Scott Norris on last couple weeks ago. He sees things that I never see. We're having trouble with the stream again. What is something's going on?
Oh yeah, it froze up.
Yeah, I'm still recording, and it says it's streaming. Anyway, this one I think I can't find any problem with it, but I'm interested to see what AD says. So that is Jayde. Thank you, Jayde, for entering. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, I think it is YouTube because the jpeg2RAW is still moving fine.
Yeah, my bandwidth looks good, so I don't think it's that. So anyway, you may have to catch some of this in the recorded version. This one is by Jeff Barnes. And he says, as a beginning photographer, I've been going to some of the local high school baseball games to practice. Great, as long as you're not, going to be some kind of creeper. Great, great idea to go and find things like that you can practice on. I was able to capture this photo of one of the players sliding into second base. This is my first submission, and I'm looking forward to submitting more in the future. Yes, keep submitting. Thank you for all that you guys are doing. Yeah. So my main problem with this one is the focus.
Yeah, it looks like it focused up in front.
Yeah,
and he probably had a very shallow depth of field on this, I'm guessing.
Yeah, he doesn't say what lens or everything, so it could have been a 70 to 200 or something like that. But your focus definitely looks like it's actually a few feet, maybe in front of that, and that could be from moving the way you're moving the lens. It could be. I can't imagine you'd have that much of a front focus problem. It could have been a number of things. When especially if you got something like this with dirt is kicking up, your focus, you got to take a lot of shots because when in sports, a lot of the thing your focus point may grab onto something else.
Something that might be moving in the air, it might grab onto.
Yeah, in this case, it should have grabbed onto either the hat or the body or whatever you had it pointed to, and not the field in front of us. It could have grabbed the dirt because you had that much, the dirt flying in the air, but I think it's even in front of that. So it could have just been, sometimes you get lens hunt. Your lens moves around and you get out of focus, and that's one of the ones in the frame. So keep practicing at that. And, that baseball offers a lot of opportunities to shoot like that. You generally, and like when I go shoot though, I generally have to shoot through the fence because they won't let you on the field. And even sometimes if you're in a dugout, won't let you leave the door open to have a little bit of a lens sticking through to shoot. So you're kind of having to shoot through the fence. And as long as you have you're shooting at like f2.8 on a 7200 or bigger lens, you should be able to blur that fence completely out.
Now, the only thing I was thinking that he could have done also on this is now, obviously, you're not prepared for somebody to steal a base like this. But if you are maybe expecting it, go to a manual focus and focus in on the base so that when the play happens, the camera doesn't try to hunt and peck for the focus, and then you may actually miss the shot altogether.
Well, what I would suggest, I don't know what camera he's using, but I know this is at least on Nikon. So if it's not on Canon or Sony's, forgive me there. But if you're a sports photographer, you really should probably look into using back button focus.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, what you could do is focus on the bag with your back button focus, take your finger off or thumb off the button, and then frame it with your player. If you think they're about to steal, go from first to second. And then as they come in, you can do that. Depending on the speed of your focus, you can do that. Your focus is still on the bag. So if you're shooting them over on the second base bag, if you're shooting them over on first base and you don't hit the back button focus again, everything's out of focus.
Right.
So, but you can do what you're talking about, staying in autofocus, but use the back button to lock your focus, and then when you let off, it stops focusing.
Yeah, and each camera is different on that. So you got to look at your manual for yours and know what your camera is before you're going to do this, because obviously you don't want to guess for it while you're there ready to take the picture.
And Gary brings up another good point. When you're shooting sports, I'm not sure that was the issue here. It could have been a little bit because there is motion blur too, is make sure you keep your shutter speed up. With baseball, I generally try and keep it as close to 1,000 or higher if I can.
Yeah, I was going to say 1,000
per second. So you may have to bump your ISO, and at some point, I'm done for the night. I've shot games where once it's completely dark and the lights are out, and I'm shooting at the best I can hope for is 1/800 per second at 12,800. I'm probably done for the night. But Jeff, keep entering. We glad to have you this month, and let's keep it up. So up next,
and maybe ask that right fielder why he isn't backing up the play, kind of just hanging out there.
Next up is Nancy Zumbach Smith. Nancy's entered almost every month. I always interested to see her images that she's entered. Thanks, Nancy, for entering again this month. She says, I was a second shooter at the wedding of this lovely couple and snapped this as a photographer changed her position. An instant, intimate moment of joy. Yeah, so the great thing here is the smile on the bride's face.
As much as I like the picture, the one distracting thing is the arm sticking out of her head.
Yeah, so that's
his arm, because you can see the reflection off the window. That's his arm. Because at first I wasn't sure if it was his, and then I saw the black sleeve, but that's a little distracting coming out of her head. And I don't know if you could have cloned it, because if you clone that out, then you got to clone it out of the window.
Mm-hmm. It gets complicated.
It's very hard because you're capturing that moment, and you don't want to say make a change.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I might be willing to live with that. And what might be, to me, distracting as I do my border patrol is the shadow on the upper left-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can get rid of with a crop and cropping it out a little differently. And that might have made it even a little bit tighter on her in the smile. But I love the moment, and I like it. I like it in black and white too.
Well, I think that helps that hand back there. I think if this was in color, that hand would be even more distracting.
Yes. So great image, Nancy. I did not
beautiful.
Like it. I'm going to like it right now. And we had one more. I don't know.
And as Barry says, the reflection in the window really helps this picture too.
Yes. Nope. That's all I have for tonight. All right, so let me find us again. So, all right. So, Tim, we have to pick. We have to pick a winner. So, let's do this. I'm
between two.
Okay. Let's do this. We're gonna bug out for just a minute. You guys hang out. We'll be right back as soon as I can find the logo. And when we come back, we'll have a winner. Hold on. All right. Nobody can hear us. What is your two?
The first and the last, and bordering it. If I had to pick another one, it would be the one out the window. But the windowsill is kind of detracting. But
so we got Barry. Let me say the ones I'm debating between: Barry Cruver with the field.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite.
Jayde with the crates, and then the couple. The bride, the black and white bride.
All right. So then we're between the first and the last. Then between the field and the bride.
Okay.
Because neither of our third was really the same.
Okay. Which one do you want? I'll let you pick.
I think the field, because I think the hand coming out of her head is a detractor to me. So I'll go with the field and maybe crop off the right hand side of it a little bit to tighten it in to bring that house to the left, but I'll go with the field.
Okay. All right, I'll bring us back. All right. So we had to debate that for a while because it was not. And the winner is. Let me get the image up so we can pull it up. We had to debate this one for a while, but here it is. This is the image by Barry Cruver.
And I can't type it out there because he doesn't see. Oh, and Barry's gone.
Barry's gone?
No, you moved the picture. The picture's changing.
All right, hold up. Let me get it back. There we go. I don't have that thing quite working yet. It seems to, every time I make it go live, start the slideshow again. So this image,
he put a drum roll out there. He didn't even know it was his.
Yeah, this image by Barry Cruver.
Yes.
Great image, Barry. Thanks for entering again. I think this is his second time winning. He had another awesome image of a fire station.
Yes.
Yep.
I like this picture. Nice job, Barry.
All right. Awesome, Barry. Thanks for entering. Keep it up. Everybody keep it up. And especially Thomas, that's one I want to keep entering because he was the one, if you remember back, I think the 2015 photo contest of the annual one of them that I reached out to him after that contest.
Oh, that was one with the wire?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's coming along. He's coming along.
Yes, because I remember that picture. Yeah. And I think that was taken with a camera phone, and very, very much improvement.
Yeah, very good, very good. So let me bring us back. There we go. All right. So that's really all the stuff I had for tonight to go over. There was one guy, I was watching a video of him where he spent days and days hiking in somewhere out west to never really get the image that he wanted. And it made me think of what I'm about to talk about for me. He was hiking all this time as a landscape photographer, and he would go out to get the evening shot, and the sun just wouldn't cooperate. It wasn't, the sky was all gray, and it just wasn't what he wanted. Wake up early in the morning thinking he can go get that, and it'd be gray again. And it never worked out the whole trip. But he kept persevering. He's going to keep doing it. And he's going to keep going out there. So it made me think of what I've done this past week. And this is the part where we're going to go into some personal stuff here. So if you don't want to listen to this part, then, head on out. But, Tim and I are Fitbit friends. Yeah. He has the Blaze. I have the Charge 2. And I've picked up a couple other. Thomas Heaton. Yeah. Gary saw that also. He did get one image it was a nice image of a white tree that was kind of standing alone in the field that they had burned. So everything was black except for this one white tree. Anyway, so we're Fitbit friends, and one of the ladies at work got her Fitbit too, and she wanted to. I can't. I'll come back to the chat. She wanted to do a challenge. Now this person is 15, 20 years younger than me, and in much better shape. So she thought it would be an easy win. Target. So we did what's called Work Week Hustle. Okay, and that is 12:01 a.m. Monday to 11:59 p.m. Friday. So that's what the challenge is, and it's the most steps. Whoever gets the most steps is the winner in that time frame. So normally Tim is always ahead of me. Tim is
normally
70, 80,000 steps in a week, and I'm at 40, 50,000 steps in a week. So she was right. I should have been an easy target, but I was not going to give up. So what I did, Tim, let me get rid of that. What I did was, we're going to go to this image here. I went out walking. Yeah, that's goofy me. Went out walking. That was actually Friday night. So Thursday night, I was going to go out walking and try and get ahead because I was a few thousand steps behind. But it was pouring down raining outside. So what I did was I walked around my house, the first floor of the house, inside, walked around from family room to dining room to kitchen and just on and on and on. And I put in 27,000 steps in that one night, walking around the house. So
the first one I saw you posted was 18,000. Yeah. And you're like, no, go a couple of days later.
18,000 was the highest I've ever done until that night. So 27,000 steps, all in my house, and it took me till about 12:30 that night. And at that point, I was 500 steps ahead. The next morning, I wake up, I start walking. She starts walking. And then we have to go to work. By the end of the work day, we're 200 steps apart. Very, very close. So we both, as soon as work's over, both rush home. She, to her home, me to my home. I get a couple of bites to eat and head out and start walking. And that was me on the trail. Go back to that. That was me on the trail there walking. And then that was probably about 8 o'clock. I then went to the elementary school and walked around the elementary school until there was time for the contest to be over. When it was all said and done for that night, so first off, let me say, she went running And that by 7 o'clock at night, she was 7,100 steps ahead of me. So, okay, in my condition, running is not a good idea. So at that point, I thought, if I can get her down to 3,000 step difference by 10 p.m., I've got a shot. By 10 p.m., it was 4,400 steps apart. But I kept going. I ran out of water around 9 o'clock. It got pitch black dark, and AD said, "Why didn't you bring a headlight so I could see?" Because I couldn't see anything. It was pitch black dark, only enough to barely see the trail. And if I ever looked at my phone, I was blinded. But the reason to bring a headlight is because this was poorly planned. I just went out and started walking and didn't plan for any of this stuff. So kept going. And by the time the night was over, I had walked 46,747 not miles, steps, 16.57 miles.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? That one day-ish, was about what I normally do in a week.
You're right.
For the week, she ended up winning by 2,100 steps. She did 116,700 steps. I did 114,600 steps.
I think the really sad part is the 4 hours, 58 minutes of sleep.
Huh?
You got your sleep there of 4 hours and 58 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's more than what I usually get.
Oh,
usually it's closer to 4. But after that, what is the result of that? Because I did lose. I've got chigger bites all up and down my leg. I've got 2 blisters on one foot and 1 blister on the other foot. And
this week you haven't walked.
I've gotten less than 10,000 steps a day since then. But it has, inspired me to do this more, because I really, as much pain as that was for me, I really enjoyed the competition and the process of doing it and getting out there and walking. And as the blisters are wearing off, they're coming around. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there and doing it again.
No, I was just trying to look what my best steps was, and the best badge I have is 30,000, and I probably was somewhere between 30 and 35. I want to say it was around 33,000, and it's not telling me in Fitbit. It's thinking it right now. But when I saw that 46, and that was a Disney day, no doubt that and I do a lot of walking when I'm down there. But man, that's a lot of walking, Mike.
And it's somewhere around 8 o'clock or something like that. I thought, okay, to win this, I'm going to have to do 30,000 steps. And not long after that, because you're getting an update on the Fitbit app, you're getting an update from them, they're getting an update from you. She got the 30,000 step badge, and she was 5,000 or so steps ahead of me. So I said, okay, well, this is going to take at least 35,000 steps. So ended up, being the 46,000, and we just kept, going at it. And she's one that's not going to give up either. So I never could count on her just quitting with that. Now, when you get out there at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and you're the only one out there walking on this trail, and there's woods all around you, and
you hear everything.
So first, I can't wear headphones because I'm worried if I put headphones on, I won't hear the axe murderer coming up behind me. And it's so dark, the axe murderer could be just standing a few feet away from me, and I wouldn't even know it. So I started thinking, this town, I don't know in the entire time I've lived here if there's been a single murder. So that should be pretty safe.
But it's going to be night by an axe murderer.
and then I started thinking, but when they find my body, what they'll be saying is, well, we've never had a single murder here, until some idiot decided to go walking in the woods at midnight. But bugs hitting you all the time, and it's just, it's interesting. But
no, and you hear every little creature out there.
Oh, yes. I think there must have been a deer out there, although at the moment I thought it might have been like a Bigfoot or something. but it must have been a deer because it sounded massive. 38,420 shooting in San Francisco.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know San Francisco was that bad. That's more than New York, I think.
He must be talking about steps. He can't be talking about shooting people, 38,000 people being shot. I don't think he's mean Brad saying that.
Yes, much better, Brad.
So
we're talking about axe murderers right away. I go to somebody being shot.
Let me do this since we're really off the chart here. Let's go ahead and end the show, and then we'll do a little bit of post show here. So, yep. Thanks for coming out, everybody. This is the end of the show. And keep it on. Good night.
Good night.